and thank you for watching the BibleFlix. Today we're reading Barbie, Girl's Best Friend by Grollier books, narrated by Azucena Barberas. Chapter 5. Soon the day arrived for Sandy to return to the school. He would begin his formal training as a guide dog. Stacey did not want to get out of bed. She barely slept the night before. Even when Sandy's nose nudged her cheek, she kept her eyes shut tight. This would be the last morning he would wake her up. When Stacey and Sandy finally did come downstairs, Barbie gave her little sister a big hug. "Are you okay?" Barbie asked. Stacey nodded. "Sure, I guess," she said quietly. She didn't want to upset Sandy. But Sandy sensed something was wrong. While Stacey pushed her breakfast around her plate, Sandy brought a tennis ball over to her. He wagged his tail. "Sandy has the right idea," Barbie said with a laugh. "Why don't you two go play in the yard until it's time to go?" As Barbie got dressed, she listened to Stacey and Sandy chasing each other outside. They were soon joined by Skipper and Kelly. Sandy's happy barks and Stacey's giggles made her smile. Stacey's really done a great job with Sandy, she thought. She finished dressing and leaned out the window to call down to them. "Stacey," Barbie called. Her eyes darted across the backyard. Stacey and Sandy were gone. "Oh dear, I was afraid something like this would happen," Barbie said to herself as she grabbed her car keys. As Barbie ran outside, she met Skipper and Kelly, who were coming inside. "Don't worry, I think they just went to the park," Skipper said. "Just as I thought," replied Barbie. The park was not far from the house. When Barbie parked the car, she could already see the two sitting side by side near the pond. Sandy loved to splash in the water. "I don't want to give him back," Stacey sobbed as Barbie knelt beside her. Barbie took a deep breath. "I know this is hard to do," she said. "I'm going to miss Sandy too. You've done such a wonderful job training him. But now he's ready to do the job you raised him to do. Think of how he's going to enhance someone's life. He's already changed yours. He's going to make you very proud, the same way that you've made me very proud." Stacey wiped her eyes. She thought about Kathy's grandmother. Then she remembered the man she had met in the park and all the other people with guide dogs she had heard speak at the school. "You're right," Stacey said finally, "but this is still a lot harder than I thought it would be." Barbie, Stacey, and Sandy headed back to the car. Stacey held the door open. "Okay, Sandy, I guess this is it," she said, trying to be brave. Sandy jumped in and soon they were on their way. The school was buzzing with activity when Barbie and Stacey arrived. Sandy's tail wagged back and forth. He was excited by all the other dogs and people. "I'm Joe," a young man said, shaking Stacey's hand. "I'll be Sandy's trainer for the next months. What special things can you tell me about him?" Joe's smile was friendly and warm, and he seemed to really love dogs. Stacey proudly told him all about Sandy and what the dogs had learned with her. Joe listened carefully to every word. "He sounds like an ideal candidate." Joe said he rubbed Sandy's ears. "The training is tough, but he'll get lots of good care too." As Stacey watched Joe and Sandy get to know each other, she began to feel a little better. Sandy seemed to like his new trainer, and Joe would know just how to handle him. "Sandy's going to learn a lot in the next few months," Joe told her. "He'll learn to watch the roads to make sure they're safe to cross. He'll learn to guide around dangers like holes in the road. He'll even learn to disobey an order if obeying it would put his master in danger. But don't worry, he'll have lots of fun too." Just then a young blind woman came over to them. She was led by a black lab. She said her name was Beth and her dog's name was Jasper. Would anyone care for a tour? She asked Stacey. And Barbie, sure, Barbie and Stacey replied together, so Beth and Jasper led them down to the hallway. These are the kennels, Beth said, and out this door are the training grounds. Outside, Stacey and Barbie saw several dogs being trained. They watched as one dog led his trainer through an obstacle course. The trainer was blindfolded. The young German shepherd carefully guided the trainer around the hole, but then the trainer bumped his head on a pole that was hanging down low. Bert heard the familiar "ow" that followed. Our trainers take all the risks so a blind person won't have to, Beth explained. Now that dog knows to look up, as well as from side to side. By the time they had to leave, Stacey felt much better. She gave Sandy one last long hug. "You be as good for Joe as you were for me," Stacey whispered. "Come back for graduation," Joe said as he took Sandy's leash. "It's quite a thing to see." Waving goodbye, Barbie and Stacey drove away. "How are you feeling?" Barbie asked Stacey. "I feel sad," she replied, "but I'm kind of excited for Sandy. I know he's going to be just fine." "There's just one more thing." "What?" Barbie asked. "Well, Sandy made me feel special and important. Now I'm just me again," Stacey said. "And what's wrong with that?" asked Barbie. "People are very impressed with you and with what you've done. It takes a very special person to train a guide dog, and you gave up Sandy so that he could help someone else when you really wanted to keep him. If you ask me, helping others is the most important thing a person can do." Stacey blushed.